All right, hello. Today we are going to be making the double barrel shotgun for Gun World. So we're going to start like we normally would and get out of shape, as you guys can expect. We're going to go ahead and grab a barrel here. And we're going to take this barrel and we're going to make sure it's in line. So I'm going to grab the center dot and I'm going to put it right dead smack on this right here. Okay, I'm not quite sure if that's where I want it. Nope. I want it to face this way. Just have more dots to use. Okay. So, little kind of thick for what I was going for. So we're going to shrink it down just to about right there. Remember, this is a double barrel. Because of shotgun, we're going to stretch this bad boy out. Okay. Now, the question is, how does that look? Right? Well, if I'm holding that, looks pretty good. Maybe a little longer than I need it to be, though. So we'll bring it back just a little bit. And then, one of my favorite things to do is click duplicate. Grab this right here. Boom. What do you have? 2 barrels. Now we got the double barrel shot, baby. Okay, and they're perfectly in line. So, goes pretty smooth. Now, we're going to need another shape. So, because we need another shape, we're going to find something that makes sense for what we're going for. I really kind of like this thing right here. It seems like it would fit perfect, and it seems like it needs to be where we need it to be. So, what are we doing? We're going to the perfect edge of that, but we're going to rotate this around. Oh, right. That looks like that fits. Now, I don't want to have it on duplicate because I'm going to be making a bunch of them, just like I just made 2 just now unintentionally. Like I didn't even know I had that one. Okay. But up here, I'm going to select it. I'm going to move it up to where it needs to be, which is about right there. Maybe a little lower. Let's go a little lower than that. All right. And then I'm going to move it back. Actually, I'm going to extend it out. We'll go to about right here. Then I'll take this. I'll move it back. I kind of like it being about right there. All right. Now, obviously, you can kind of see that that's in there. So if I want to, I can shrink it down. But I really don't want to shrink it down. I like that it's in there. We just need to make it so that you can't see it later on. And I'll show you how we'll do that later. All right. So we have now our barrel, double barrel. Looks like we kind of have a place to grip it from, but I think it should be a little smoother than that. So we're going to try to find another shape that would help with that smoothness, which more than likely is going to be this half circle. Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. That's kind of weird. Why would that fit? But watch what I'm going to do with it. We're going to take this dot. We're going to line it up with there. We're going to take this dot and line up with there, right? You guys following me? It's coming together, right? Somewhat. Okay, take this dot to the edge there. Then we take this dot right to the edge there. Well, that doesn't look too bad, right? But it still isn't quite right. So I'm going to stretch it this way and then move it till it fits exactly what I'm looking for. Boom. Okay, now I feel like I'm getting somewhat there, but this doesn't feel like it's right either. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to take the edge. Oh, so that's not working like I wanted to. So I'm going to take my snap off, and I'm just going to do it by hand. And I'm going to go right to a spot that I think looks cool. That looks kind of cool. Yeah, that looks clean. All right, so then do the same thing on this side. Just enough. Boom. That says pretty even. So now we got it basically done. But this something isn't right about this. So I'm going to try to stretch it out just enough. And then I'm see what happens if I shrink it down. So I don't really want it showing above the two top barrels. That doesn't look kind of bad. Okay. Now this is going to be a super tricky one to make, and I'm going to tell you guys why. It's not so much about having to make the shape fit. It's more about the fact that we have to fire multiple bullets out of a shotgun, right? So normally we're used to like one projectile coming out of the pistol. But with this one, we're going to have a couple rounds flying out there. And that will make it a little bit more challenging than normal. So this, I think we're going to extend it out a little bit more to about here. Not too bad. And then obviously we're going to need to put our trigger here, and we need to put the back on here. Something that makes it look like it has a back on it. So let's find some pieces that we could use. I'll bring this over here. Let's find some pieces that we could use that would kind of simulate that. Now, nothing's standing out to me, so you got to start being creative. That's the one thing about this. The more creative you are, the better. So I'm going to take another one of these semicircle pieces, or half circles or whatever. I'm going to grab the center dot, and I'm going to put it in the middle, right? So I know that it's centered. I know that it looks good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this out to about right here. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to stretch it up there, and I'm going to take this. I'm going to stretch it out there. And this top part, I'm actually going to take it and stretch it down. Okay? Now that's not bad. That looks like that could kind of hold some shotguns, right? Now this is not probably going to be a pistol grip. We're going to let this thing go into the shoulder. That's the point. So because I'm going to shoulder, and it doesn't look like it's exactly like I want it, I'm going to go just a little bit higher. About right there. That looks good. I moved it not like I wanted to. Okay. I'm going to grab this macaroni noodle. Get that out of my way. I'm going to take my macaroni noodle from the middle and put it right down there, smack in the center. Okay. Now that I have that, I kind of can see what I want to do with it. And first thing I want to do with it is rotate it. I'll leave it right there. Okay. The next thing I want to do is stretch it. I probably don't want to go higher than that. Well, that's actually not that bad, but I think the rotation's a little off. So I'm going to stretch out just a little bit more. And then we're going to find a way to rotate it just a little bit more. Like that, I kind of like. Okay. So we take it so that the edge isn't sticking out. It's got a smooth edge going up. But the handle is super thin. Nobody wants a super thin handle. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to see if we can balance it out to the center of both barrels. That gives it a pretty good grip. Makes it look pretty solid, right? Now, this pump area, we realize that's what we have here. So we're going to have to make this look a little bit different. I just realized that. But we'll come back to that here in a second. So let's add another shape, which is going to be let's go with this right here. I don't know what the shape is called, but I call it the potato. All right, so once again, we want to make sure everything is centered. So we put to those dots so we can snap it into place. Now that it's snapped in place, we want to select it and slide it to the direction that we want it in. Okay, so we're going to put it about right there. I kind of like how that looks. It looks kind of cool, but I think it's a little too wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our snap back in, and we're going to make it go to the width of the end. There we go. Now, see how it's that little piece sticking out? I hate that. I know. It's me being petty or OCD or whatever you want to call it, but I don't like that. So I'm going to make it move up just enough so it has a smooth everything that we want it to have. Then I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to move them both back. Then I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit more just to give it a more of a stretch, right? So it feels like your hand can get on there. So now it fits. Okay, looks good, looks good. I know it's all one color, but we're gonna add a color later. We have both pieces. So now we need our back piece, which is gonna be kind of interesting. We want to have the right shape for it, and we don't want it to be weird. So we're gonna try this cone first instead of the pyramid. All right. So far we got a lot of like nice round shapes on this shotgun. So to add anything else would be weird. But let's select it. Ooh, wrong button. Sorry. So let's select it. Then we're gonna put in our mode that we need it to be in. Now we're going to center it. Right. Once we know that it's centered, we can adjust it from there. So we don't have to worry so much about it once it's centered. And we really want to make sure that we got kind of the length that we're looking for, right? Let's look at this thing. If I'm holding it, boom, boom, maybe a little bit longer. Let's go with that. All right, now, two things I've noticed. It's too much of a point right here, right? So what I'm going to do, since I know the center is, I'm going to select it. And I'm going to move it in, until it comes out the front. Then I'm going to move it back so it's not coming out the front. Okay? Now that feels a little weird. It looks a little awkward too. So we're going to tilt it in the direction we feel like it needs to go, which is about there. And then this needs to get a little bit more stretched out. Okay? Because this is stretched out, this gets lifted up. Oh, not too far. And this gets lifted down. But not too far either, right? Still not really sold on this. Why is that? Because it's too thin. Okay, so we're going to try doing this. We're going to see where we need this thing to be to make it make sense. That looks like it. That's probably the spot. Now, I don't feel so bad, but this little knuckle thing in the middle is now bothering me. So we're going to find a way to make this one make a little bit more sense too. One of which is to rotate it a little bit. Okay. Then bring it down in size. Okay. That's not bad. But this is off now. So what are we going to do? We're going to lift it up. And we're going to tilt it down. Now, it seems like it's a little high on the back end, so we're going to rotate it just a little bit more, like right there. That's probably where I want it. I'm not against that. That doesn't look too bad. But it's not right. I know I'm doing some weird stuff here, but I'm really just messing with the shapes to see what stuff looks like if I were to round it out a little bit more. Which I kind of am starting to like a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Sorry for the silence. Okay. Well, that doesn't look too bad at all. But it still looks like it's a little bit too tilted up too high. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select both pieces. And we're going to rotate them down just enough. Just about right there. Then we're going to bring them down just enough as well. Now, that looks like a shotgun, okay? We can rock up on it. Boom, boom, right? All right, so let's get this thing in order because this is looking a little weird. So I'm going to bring this down because it's our pump. We already know that. That makes me feel a little bit more confident. But we're going to take this thing, we're going to click duplicate. First, we're going to grab it. Then we're going to click duplicate. We're going to take this arrow and we're going to bring it down. And the reason why we're doing that, let's take this out. We're also going to do this. It'll be about right there. But it's obviously not faced the right way, so. No, it is, I think. Oh, well, there's always one other way to do it, which is grab and center. Nope. Grab and center, just like that. Okay, and now I kind of want it to be stretched out because I don't want it to look like it's in the wrong spot. But now we have our pump, okay? And we can see where it's going. Now, it's not obviously going to pump. We're not going to try to do that. We're just trying to make it shoot. We're going to grab these little kind of weird flat macaroni noodle things. Turn that off. And we're going to slap them right underneath. Boom. That looks perfect. So we're going to select this piece. We're going to move it down. Oh, not there. Not locking it in. We're going to move it down to about right there. Then we're going to shrink it down to like right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move it up just so it's in there. Okay. Now that we have that and it's selected, we're going to hit duplicate. We're going to grab another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. And another one. Now look at that. That looks like it's getting serious now, guys. Okay. So we have most of the stuff. We just don't have our trigger housing area. So we're going to have to put that in there. We're going to use another one of these little weird shapes. Oops. Don't need two of them. Actually, I could have used two. That was a bad idea. But what I need to do to make sure it's level, recenter. Remember, always center. Boom. Does that look centered? No, that looks off. So we're going to grab it. Make sure we have that middle pin. And then we're going to go center. As long as we know that it's centered, we can always move it in the direction we need it to go in. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off so I can get it kind of in a better spot. Now, that's obviously a little too wide. Right here may not be too bad. Which it isn't, but still not quite right. So we're going to have to select it again, turn off that. We're going to bring this back. No, we're going to bring this forward. Because that now becomes like our hinge. We're going to bring this down a little bit. We're actually going to bring this in a little bit. We don't want those corners out. See how those corners are sticking out? We don't really want that. We want those corners in. There we go. Okay. So now we have almost a shotgun. Right? And that looks pretty cool, but we need to put a trigger in there. And this is my favorite thing to use for a trigger. I'm sure you guys can obviously guess why. Alright. Alright, so now I'm going to have to obviously shrink this thing down. Alright. we go. We have a shotgun. Now, there's only one thing that I would say the shotgun's missing that makes it a little bit more believable, but not like crazy believable. But we're going to put them in there just to make it cool because it's one of the signature things that we do here in Gun World. So, what I'm going to do is I want to do a few things. I don't want anybody looking down their barrel and seeing nothing crazy. So, I'm going to shrink this down to where I think it fits inside of the barrel. About right there. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to get my perfect center on, right? And here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to select it. Then I'm going to bring it out so I don't have to mess with it. Okay? Now, while I'm messing with this thing, I'm going to make it a little longer. Move it a little bit over. And I'm going to put one of these on the very end of it. So I got that. Go to the center. Make sure it's flat. And then guess what? Shrink it down. Shrink it down to where I need it to be. Probably about right there, maybe. But once again, grab the center. Put on the center. Okay. Now this is way too wide. So I want to go as thin as I can get, but not too thin. All right. And that quickly, I have my shotgun shell. All right. Pretty cool. So I want to paint this thing because if without painting it, it's going to be weird. So I want to paint one end black. I want it to look like it's metal. A lot. So I want this to be painted black. But I want my end to be gold. Okay, so that's now my shotgun shell. Now, why did I make that black? Because of this reason. I'm gonna make this bad boy kind of long. Then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna scoot it. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna highlight these together. And I'm gonna group them together. Okay, now, if I move this, you can see the shotgun shell. And guess what? You can almost not see. Now you can't see down the barrel where there's those little weird areas. Now, I need two of those, right? So all I gotta do is bring this bad boy over till it's in the center here. And guess what? Boom, boom. It's done. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So now that we got our shells inside our gun, we have our trigger. I kind of think this needs to be stretched out. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit more. There we go. I like that a little better. Okay. Now, we got to have sights. Nobody wants a gun without any sights on it. So we're going to take maybe a few pieces. Hold on. First piece we're going to take is we're going to take the probably this triangle piece or pyramid. Okay. Shotguns have different types of sights on them, but we're going to try this. Grab it in the center. Put it in the center. Now it's good. Okay. So select grab. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to bring it in on either side. Okay. Bring it down so it looks like it's still in there. Then I'm going to bring this down on this end. I don't want it sticking out past the barrel. Okay, now I got it basically where I want it, so I'll put it right at the edge. And then I want this top piece to come down just enough. But I got to be able to look down the gun, so that's the other side of it. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to take it down just a little bit more, about right there. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a teeny tiny sight. How's somebody gonna see that? And that doesn't look good either. So we're gonna scoot it back just a tad. Right? I know what you're thinking. Doesn't look great. But that's not the final step. Final step is we're gonna grab this red ball right here. Well, it's not red, but I'm gonna make it red. How about that? There we go. Ooh, I like it. It's like a Christmas ornament. All right. So now back to grab. Bring it over here. What do we do first? Center it. Right, that's back in the center. We're going to select it, and we're going to shrink it. All right, now this is the tough part. I want to pull this away so I can get into this a minute. All right, now I got the center dot. Oh, look at that. Red dot right on the end. Now, I kind of like it, but then I kind of don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little sweeter than that. We're going to isolate this thing. Make it even smaller. Let you guys see where it's at. Now watch what I have to do so that I can get a better grab on stuff. So once again, making sure it's centered right on the top of that bad boy. But once it's on the top, I'm going to lift it up just a pin, like about right there. Now guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab this thing. And I'm going to center it just the same. Okay? But I want to make it a little bit bigger because it's just a little too small. I'm right there. Go center the ball. Boom. Now everything's lined up. The ball's lined up. Now that's one hell of a shotgun sight. Okay, but it's a little long. So we're going to go back a little bit. Boop, boop, boop. And we're going to go forward a little bit. Boop, boop. Now that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so now let's zoom out of it. Give it a good look. Okay. That looks pretty sweet. All right, so we have completed the from scratch build of our double barrel shotgun that will be added to Gun World here soon. Now we're going to paint it. Bring that over here. Sorry. All right, so let's go with style. Now, I like traditional looking shotguns, so obviously our barrel is going to be metal. The texture probably as good as it is. Never really tried this one though, so let's see what this looks like. Coral. I can dig it. All right. So we want to get our barrels the same color. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All our pieces that we consider like metal, we want to be the same color. So we're gonna go with this being that same color, like that. All right. Maybe even we'll go a different color for that. Okay. So now the other thing I like is we can get this wood grain look. And the wood grain is gonna be sweet for certain things. Like it'll be sweet for that. It'll definitely be sweet for the buttstock. But it shouldn't be metal. It should be. Sorry, maybe I'm doing that part wrong. Sorry, guys. Nope, that don't look good either. that a little better. All right. So now we're gonna go with a different color metal. All right. So I'd say that's pretty good. That's our double barrel shotgun. It's pretty simple. Not much to it. You got nothing that you can see down the barrel, and it looks good. There might be one other thing I think I just might add for fun, just to make it look a little bit more realistic to me. And that is, I'm gonna throw this bad boy on the back. Yeah, I kind of like that. Makes me feel like it's a little bit more. There we go. So that is our shotgun. Now, in our next video, we're going to show you how to make a shotgun shoot. Hope you like it. And here is the 3D view of the new double barrel shotgun in Gun World. All right, time to make this thing shoot.